I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. And I'm welcoming Rie Accalia. Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rie, or Rie Accalia, or Accalia. I'm a Highland Cow / puppy VTuber and the current manifestation of codename Red Maiden, an information entity created by the secret department of the EU and a freak experiment who will someday supplant all information in the universe. But until then, I play a lot of sandbox, roguelike, and tabletop games that interest me.
Probably a good idea to keep you on the good side.
Exactly. You never know when I might appear.
When you take over, can I have a good job?
It's kind of, yeah.
This doesn't have to be real high paying, just enough to pay the bills, It's just...
Yeah, we can discuss it once she is the only information in the universe. But don't worry about that.
Well, I appreciate the thought anyway. When did you get started with content creating?
So I got started in November of 2021. However, I do consider this like an important part of the backstory because a long time ago, back when So, Mr. Loy, have you ever heard of the program FaceRig?
Yes.
Yes. So this was like the kind of one of the earliest forms of VTubing. So this was back when I was all the way back in high school, and I saw a lot of potential in this because people like PewDiePie and other like big VTubers, big YouTubers,
right,
were using this software, and I found a lot of potential in that because personally, I'm not the biggest fan of like showing my face on the webcam and so on. So back then, I was thinking like, damn, if somebody did something kind of like this, but like allowed you to make like your own avatars for it, that would be amazing. And then eventually there's this thing came around called Vroid. So Vroid is the one where you make like a 3D VTuber. I was in on the ground floor with that. I was there back when they didn't have preset hairstyles. You had to draw the individual hair strands one by one.
Ooh.
It was crazy. It was so much work, but I got it done. I got a 3D model, and then eventually I got a 2D model commissioned. I am a big supporter of the Vroid people. I don't know if you know about this, Mr. Lloyd, but there is a little bit of discrimination against Vroid users because it's kind of like Unity game projects. They're a lot easier to make, so people kind of look down on them. But a lot of models out there are Vroid. You wouldn't know it.
Oh wow, that's that's one thing I really don't understand about these things because why would there be a discrimination against when you're talking about a group that is as diverse as VTubers are? Why would there be any discrimination one way or the other as to what type of model you use?
There's various reasons. I think the main one is that there's a lot of people who, how do I word this? There's a lot of people who are kind of self-hating Vroid users. So, for example, I had this one friend who he tried to do like a VTubing career, and it didn't really work out for him. So he became quite negative about this, and he was making fun of my Vroid, which was quite insane. And then there's also individuals who use live 2D models. So these are the very fancy ones that have been drawn from scratch. They're a lot more expensive because someone obviously has to do the art for them.
Right.
Although there is ones that are being sold and are customizable these days, so that's a great sign. But people who have these live 2D models, they can have kind of a sense of elitism about it.
Oh, that's the sort of thing that drives me crazy. I don't care what it is, that drives me crazy. Is it elite? Especially when you consider there's so many people doing this now, and so many different backgrounds and talents, and some folks are going to try to make a living out of it. Some folks may do it once every 2 months.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how many different kind of people are doing it now because I know that you've done like 700 interviews. I'm sure you've seen like all different kinds of VTubers. It's just there's so many, and that makes it like so fascinating because previously back in like the days when they were first coming out, it was just like HoloLive and like a few people that are kind of like, how do I word this? Like kind of sort of pioneers, basically. There wasn't that many around, but now there's so many around that, like, if I search up Highland Cow VTuber, there's so many of them. It's amazing.
I gotta tell you something. My wife has the Highland Cow stuff on a lot of things in the house.
Yeah, they are very popular, and it has like a little bit of crossover between the two different types of animals I have, the puppy and the Highland Cow, because baby Highland cows, they're kind of like dogs.
Oh yeah, Yeah, and the drawings and pictures that you get, you're like, oh, it's so cute.
Exactly. There's so many gifs of them in the GIF keyboard. It's incredible. It's incredible. They're amazing animals.
Yeah, yeah, they really are.
Mm.
So for you, the decision to become a VTuber, was it an easy one? Was it easy to do once you got the equipment? How did it go?
Oh, so there's two very different answers for that. So
Mm,
becoming a VTuber, that part was very easy because, as I was saying earlier, I kind of have sort of I didn't really like my face to be honest. It's like, and then later on I realized this was like gender dysphoria type thing. So now I'm not
mm,
really as bothered about it. But
mhm.
previously I was like, damn, that shit is I am, I am cooked, bro. This shit is bad. So I was like, right, we're gonna do some VTuber stuff. That part was the easy bit. The harder part was compensating for the voice. So as you can tell, I don't really pass as like a trans femme type voice. Like I know you've spoken to a few ones who have amazing voices, incredible people. For example, Index Page.
Mhm,
Um, and so essentially what I did is I started without using a voice and only using face rig. This
mhm.
was a terrible idea. I was playing a bunch of so this is the reason why I've been streaming for so long, but I'm not quite as big because I'm a master of self-sabotage. So I started with face rig and I literally used no microphone. There was no voice coming out. It was just long 3 hour streams of playing Halo MCC on Firefight. So essentially, you would tune into a YouTube stream and you would see Halo gameplay with this anime girl in the top left, just kind of looking around, like not saying anything, looking mildly concerned. Not great, not great moves. Eventually, what I did is once I had the 3D model, the Vroid model, is I found a voice changer and I put the voice changer on,
Uh-huh.
and that was kind of a half measure because it's incredibly difficult to tell what I'm saying while I'm using the voice changer. So
Right.
I did manage to get like some people in the audience while I was doing that. However, it also had its own downsides.
Yeah.
And then eventually, after a few years, I decided, okay, maybe I should try doing a stream without the voice changer because they can kind of tell what my voice sounds like anyway. So this
Mhm,
is the voice you're hearing right now without the
mhm.
voice changer on.
Yeah.
And so I did that one day. Everyone said my voice sounded amazing, and I was like, "Oh my god, thank you guys!" And I just like I think and I just continued doing that. So
I,
it's been a very 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 long journey.
I wonder with this. Remember, I'm an old man, so
Hmm.
I'm talking from the 1970s type thing. But yeah, I wonder if we're going to get to the point eventually as a society where voice and gender don't go hand in hand as much.
That is something that a lot of leftist thinkers have thought about, and you've managed to stumble onto it. But it is a logical conclusion, so it makes sense. But a
Mm,
lot of people in the sort of leftist circles believe in this thing called a post-gender society, where
mm,
essentially you have individuals where no matter the characteristics, you still just kind of refer to them by whatever pronouns they prefer, and nothing is assigned to like boy, girl, etc., etc.
mm.
I don't really think this is going to happen personally. It would be kind of great if it did. For me personally, I'm very biased. But I don't think it will happen. But it is definitely an interesting idea, and it's very funny that you mentioned this because that is absolutely a line of thought people have.
Mm. Yes, I don't know. I don't think you can go, all the way through it. I mean, 24/7, everybody. But we've got such a situation here, and I've talked with different VTubers such as yourself. You have a great
Hmm.
voice,
Thank you very much. Thank you
and
very much. Your voice is also very good, Mr. Loy. It
oh,
is very when I first heard it, I thought you were using well, I didn't think you were using a voice changer, but I was thinking like this guy is like strangely perfect for a radio voice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pretty funny.
Hmm.
I could just hear myself in a voice changer. But there are people around here who do this. There's one person here locally actually who will never hear this because he's so far up his own. Um, he doesn't look around, but he goes down to the real low voice for the radio stuff, and it sounds so ridiculous. Like you
Yeah,
people.
there is some people that do that because people don't talk about this very often. There's a lot of stuff that males do as kind of like gender affirming stuff. So there's
Oh
obviously
yeah,
there's like surgery and things, but something that's very gender affirming for males is being tall and having a deep voice.
yeah. Well, I'm 0 for 2.
Well, I mean, the thing is that you have kind of you have like the how do I word this? Like the sort of sort of a late 1800s radio presenter archetype. Even if your
Uh,
voice is high, you definitely fill a certain niche that people would find respectable, I feel.
well, I like that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mhm, mhm.
I'll take that with me. I'll take that as a big compliment because usually when I talk to my wife about it, it's like it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard. Okay,
Oh my God,
yeah.
that's fucked up.
Well, after a few
Oh, see
years,
that.
after a few
See, that's the
years,
thing. Sorry.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, because that's the thing about me is that I'm exceedingly straightforward. If I give someone a compliment, I genuinely mean it. And if somebody's pissing me off, they will know
Yeah. Well, I say, so you got a nice timbre to the voice, and the accent really adds to it.
it.
Yeah, and of course, I'm in the middle of the American Midwest where we have no accent whatsoever. So,
You see, that's exactly how I feel about it as well. Is that so there's a lot of Americans that say they don't have an accent. That's exactly how I feel about myself because I don't really perceive the Scottish in my accent. So when
yeah.
people say like, "Oh, I love your accent," I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
It's not. See, it's not overwhelming. It's the thing. It's just a dash, which adds
Yeah,
that little flair to it.
exactly. If I was from the deepest parts of Glasgow, if I was speaking Glaswegian, you would need me to be repeating like every second sentence. But that's the stereotypical accent.
Oh,
So.
yeah. I would love to visit up there. I mean, supposedly I got, way back ancestors from up there, but I would really love to see that area. It's
Oh yeah, there's a lot of lovely places up here. I would so the place that I personally live in like a very broad stroke is the area of Caithness. So this is like the very top of Scotland.
oh,
So I personally would recommend that because if you go to somewhere like Glasgow, you kind of have the same kind of things you would have in America. Like it's a very developed type of say. Like if you go there, it has all of your common amenities and stuff. But if you drive around Caithness for example, there's this big road route called the North Coast 500.
mm,
You drive across there, you'll see a lot of mountains, you'll see a lot of sea. Like I'm next to the sea right now. I could literally just like walk about 5 minutes and I would be at the beach. But
oh wow, wow. Yeah, I'm in smack dab in the middle of the United States. I said, yeah, I can
Mm.
right now I could walk about 5 minutes and I'd be ankle deep in snow.
Yeah, I think the one thing we do have quite similar with some parts of the United States is that like if I were to look at my window right now, I would see rolling cow fields like forever. I've
Yeah,
heard this is similar to some parts of the U.S.
yeah, we're very flat for the most part in this part of the country.
Hmm.
And there's lots of cows out here. It's nothing like like the Highlands, obviously. Um, but we have plenty of cows. Yeah, it's just something, on my bucket list that's getting larger all the time. Is my time is getting smaller to fix it.
Understandable,
But
understandable. I don't do a lot of traveling myself, but maybe when I get older, I'll be like, right, fine, I want to go see somewhere else. Because like at the moment right now, like I never leave the house. Like I never like if I had to go to another country for any reason, I'd be terrified.
I would be too, but I'd also be just looking at everything. I don't think I'd blink if I went to another country at this point. And it doesn't help. I watched a fellow on YouTube called the Scottish Detectorist.
Oh right, I haven't heard of that guy.
Yeah, and he is a metal detector and a fellow, and he goes out with
Mhm.
his and he just finds all the most ridiculous stuff from Roman coins to it's just um because
I
you guys have lots of history.
we do like so as with the fact that I can walk out like 5 minutes to the sea, there's also like a bajillion different like archaeological sites here. And the thing is that there's so few people here that like we don't really need to worry about like vandalism because like nobody really cares. Like it's genuinely everywhere. Like there's a river going through my current town, and like if you go there, you will see this like ancient building that used to do like Shakespearean plays, and
Mm.
like it's just bricks now. And not even like regular like modern conception of bricks. It's a bunch of like somewhat similar rocks piled atop each other. But like it's still there. It's crazy to me.
It's the barest definition of what a brick would be.
Exactly. You just walk past that thing and then you're back on the road. There's a swimming pool the other side. It's crazy.
Well, given this background of where you're at, um, how does that compare with being out in cyberspace and doing things? I mean, I mean, I imagine it's pretty rustic where you're at the
Hmm.
most part,
Hmm.
and
I
now you're all over the world basically.
Yeah, yeah. I would say like the main thing about it is that like it kind of lends this strange feeling of like liminality because what happens is people online will be talking about like things that are happening in real life like politics
Mm-hmm.
and like racism and so on. And I see the thing is and I know I listen before anybody in the comments says I know this is my bias because I live in this area. We don't like we're sort of like we do have like a lot of immigrants. We're absolutely lovely to them. Like there's nothing going on over here. But the thing is that people talk about like all these kind of issues, and then I also talk about them online because I'm quite passionate about them.
Mm-hmm.
But once I leave the house, they just don't exist. Like it entirely exists whenever I plug into the internet, which is like
Right.
it's this very strange feeling where it's like I feel like I'm terminally online for knowing anything.
Yes, exactly. I know how you feel. I mean, I grew up in a small town myself. It's went from a small town with no traffic lights to having a Starbucks. So yeah.
See, that's how I'm feeling because we don't have a McDonald's, we don't have a Burger King, like all of those big chains, we do not have it. It's entirely sort of like foreign food shops that are ran by like immigrants. We have
Mm-hmm.
places that give us lovely kebabs, we have
Mm,
Chinese food, we have all these lovely things.
mm.
But like if you asked me about like the buildings in this town that have an elevator, I can only tell you one.
That's cool. That's really cool. And
Like
that had happened so few times now around in the U.S. in the Midwest because everything's farm fields are going away for housing and stuff. So it's
Oh yeah, but I mean the thing is as well though is that like you got to remember it's always a grass is green on the other side of the on the other side type situation
mm,
because even though I'm sure a lot of people would probably like love to do tourism up here and they'd say it's beautiful and stuff, there's nothing to do around here. There's like one tabletop club and it's not even like a tabletop shop. They don't have like a Games Workshop shop where they do like war games or whatever. They have one club and it costs £20 per day.
oh good lord,
It's
and
insane.
it's only checkers.
Honestly, that would have been better because I went there and it's like they just have like the little social circle, the clique,
Mm.
because there's so few people around here to even play it that it's like you go in and like they're already in the social groups. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I sometimes I wish like I just had the ability to like teleport into the city so I could like actually find things that personally interest me because
Yeah.
as I mentioned before, like there's a lot of stuff where it only exists once I go on the internet, and that includes my hobbies.
Oh, yeah. That's tough to do. It really is. And it's like you go in there and there be a D&D game going on, but they're already on level 65, and it's been
Oh
going
yeah,
on for 3 years.
like it's so funny you mentioned that because that was literally my first encounter with D&D in general. Like I went into that club I mentioned and like I was trying to play like Warhammer, but it's like D&D sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
And then it's like no sorry, we've already started. And I'm just like, okay, when does the space open up? It's like, well, we've currently been going for about 4 months. It's going to take a lot longer to finish. It's like, okay.
Yes. Yes. It's like the people they're so far ahead now that it's become more passionate than their job to, to do this stuff.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And but the thing is though, is that like on that tangent, because I don't want to get like too negative about it, I will say the internet has been like a great thing for me because I get to like do all my tabletop stuff.
Mhm.
There's people that are like they're raving. They're waiting for me to finish my current to finish building my current campaign for this tabletop RPG called Exalted that I am very crazy about.
Ooh.
And then once that's finished, then they're going to be joining in on that. I'm so excited.
Oh, you get a chance to. I tell people your world gets smaller and bigger at the same time.
Mhm.
Smaller in that you get to talk with people all the way around the planet. Bigger in that you get to talk to people all the way around the planet.
Exactly, exactly.
I mean, it's your potential group of people you can hang out with is huge, and
Mm.
your audience could be huge too. Uh,
Yeah, and then there's the other factor of the fact that like there's so few people like over here in Scotland in general because
mm,
like there's a lot of people in America where they make like a bajillion online friends and it's
mm.
like oh well, like the closest guy to me is like 2 hours away. The closest VTuber friend to me or person that's like online in general that I'm aware of is a 10-hour drive away.
Oh, Oh, and I know the 10-hour drive there is can be a real 10-hour drive sometimes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, because Americans are like, oh, a 10-hour drive, that's nothing. And then it's like, and then they get into London and then they're shocked by how long it takes to get out of London
Yes.
because we work differently, is all I'm saying.
Yes. Yes, and we drive on different sides of the road too. That'd be a little different.
Oh, that too. Like, okay, I'm not gonna make a whole tangent about this because it is going a little bit back into the negative. But there's quite a funny thing right now where people are telling everyone to be very careful on the roads because American tourists are coming over and they assume that we drive on the same side of the road and it's causing too many accidents.
Oh, I can see it. Actually, we're absolutely stubborn when it comes to that. It and it also be kind of we have we have roundabouts over there in a lot of I think it's roundabouts. We're finally introducing them here, and nobody knows what to do with them.
Wait, you guys didn't have them before?
Not really, no.
Oh.
They've got one. This town now has two of them. One of them is in the middle of town, and people have kind of adapted to it. The other one is like out of town, and no one even goes down that road, which makes it like, why is it even there? You get older folks, even older than me, and there are some,
Mhm.
a few, that just go spinning around those things and don't know where to get off.
Yeah, I see. Honestly, the thing is that, like, as I mentioned, I don't go outside very often, so I'm basically like them. I reach the roundabout and I'm like, okay, I think the rules is that if someone is currently on the roundabout, I let them go. But then if there's nobody that's coming around, I can enter the roundabout unless there's somebody coming in from the right, not the left, because the left is going. It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Oh yeah. It's nuts. But when you got on the net and you started getting people who were coming back for you. And you realized, was there a point where you realized that, me and my personality and talents are actually bringing people back?
Yeah, that was okay. So by now, I've kind of had a couple doses of it, so I'm used to it. But at the start, I was just confused. Like, I had this I think very early on I had like imposter syndrome. I think the thing that's kind of cured the imposter syndrome is okay, so I don't know if you've seen this before, but there's this meme where there's someone saying like, "Oh, you have imposter syndrome." Well, you'd have to be important. So I'm kind of butchering the words here, but basically the whole point of imposter syndrome is that you're in a very high place and you think that you shouldn't be in that high place.
Mhm.
And then the meme says like, how can you think that you're not supposed to be in this place? Are you saying that you're actually in a high place? And then that's self-defeating because you can't say you're in a high place if you have imposter syndrome. So it's literally like a catch-22, and I'm fine now.
Yeah, you have imposter syndrome.
Exactly. Because I had imposter syndrome, and then I realized I'm not even that big anyway. Why do I have imposter syndrome?
It reminds me a joke I told a while back. I said that when I turned, I think it was just turned 55 when I said this. I said I was getting ready to have my midlife crisis, and I realized I'm already probably about two-thirds of the way through, so I just got sad.
Oh, that's really messed up. I because the thing is that like I feel myself like not quite getting there, but it's like I'm like 27, and then that
Oh,
means I'm about like I want to say like more than a third through my life. So I'm kind of reaching the point where like it's kind of creeping into my mind, but then I'm like, what the fuck am I talking about? There's these like young ass people who are like mid 30s. Like I should not be thinking that makes no sense.
especially these days, because I look back and I see these, these 40, 45-year-olds bouncing around like they're teenagers, and I'm like,
Oh, absolutely. Like
I,
there's people that are like I'm trying to remember. Like I think like the oldest one that I'm personally aware of is like mid 50s and they're doing VTubing and like you genuinely would not be able to tell. Like the thing is that when people get older, they seem to do this thing where they do like less stuff. So my dad is actually counteracting this right now. He's doing a lot of like very silly little projects. I
cool,
won't elaborate on what they are because that would give away some personal information. But
yeah,
he is remaining very active, like not in like a sports way, but he's like doing like these projects. He's building stuff. He's
cool.
doing a crazy amount of stuff, and it's keeping him very young. Even though the gray hairs are like they're thoroughly in right now.
Yeah, well, some of us had them in when we were teenagers, but
Oh yeah. There's an insane amount of variance to that. Like I don't know if you know about the streamer Northern Lion, but he went bald in his teens.
yeah. Oh, that's something. But I'm I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, I've heard a little bit about this with the Artorias Winchesters that you're thinking you should probably get over it, before it happens.
Yeah, yeah, Artorias. Yeah, Artorias is cool. Yeah, I'm like I'm at the point now where if I go outside and it starts to rain, I'm going to get that right in the middle of my the top of my skull anyway, because there ain't nothing
I,
else but landing strip. Plop.
exactly, exactly. But I'm gonna have to steal the talking point from Artorias. It also means it's much easier to get the water out of there.
It's true too. That's very true. Among other things.
Because the thing is that once I get home, if it's been like so, as I'm sure you know, in the UK, the weather like it loves to rain. It loves to
Hmm.
rain. It depends a little bit on the season, but vast majority of the time it loves to rain.
Yeah.
So if it's absolutely torrential, if I get back inside, it's like a shower. It takes ages to get that stuff out, and it's not even like clean water sometimes. Like
Yep.
you're walking under a building and then the gutter drops some shit on you.
Oh
See,
yeah.
if I was bald, that'd be gone in no time. Is all I'm saying.
That's right. Water off a duck's back. Nope.
Exactly,
Water off a
exactly.
bald person's head.
Although despite the benefits, I personally would not want to be bald because now that I've got like the estrogen injections, it means that like I'm not going to have the male pattern baldness, and I would rather keep it that way.
That would kind of throw all the gender dysphoria thing right out the window, wouldn't it? Or bring it back. One of the two. If that was
Absolutely. Although there is a lot of women that wear it very well, I'm just not very I'm not very smart, so I wouldn't be able to make that work. I feel.
the comb over becomes a lot worse than than needs to be in some of that circumstances. But do you,
Exactly. If you have a giant bald spot and a comb over, it just makes you look terrible.
yeah, it does. And I don't care how you do it, it does. And guys, women, I'm sorry. Just it's something that's going to happen. Well, for me, I'm at the point now. Just get rid of it, and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
I mean, the thing is that like in a lot of media, the bald guy is like the evil guy. So if you have like a bald guy, and then he's kind of like a nice guy like yourself, then you kind of get extra points.
Yeah, 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 there you go. I'm exceeding expectations just by existing.
Exactly, you're kind of doing that thing where there's the archetype, and you're playing into the opposite of the archetype, which therefore gives you this gap appeal.
I am the alternative universe.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
So I'm with all of that, and the bring up alternative. Do you feel that being who you are online is your alternative universe, or are you being more you than you would be normally?
I'm definitely being a lot more me than I would be normally. Because I'm trying to think about how to word this. Hmm. Okay, so due to some mistakes on my part, my immediate family does know about all of this stuff,
Hmm.
or at least like vaguely, because one of my family members found out, and I don't think they conveyed like all of the details of the VTubing stuff, but they did say like, oh, Ria's like that. So but yeah, it's like the thing is that while I'm online, I can kind of play more into like the puppy slash Highland cow thing
Hmm.
because I'm trying to think about how to word this. So so the reason why I have the puppy thing is because it's like a certain kind of frame of mind that I have where it's like I like cuddling people, I like getting like hair strokes and all that kind of stuff, like very puppy coded things.
Yeah, yeah.
But like in real life, you can't really do that if you look like a bloke. Like it's this is what I'm saying about like
Mm.
the post gender society being like a very admirable goal because the fact that men can't do that kind of shit is what's driving them to be incels. I feel.
Yeah, yeah. I can certainly imagine that sort of thing. And bring it back to the voices thing. It gets me being an old man. Um,
Hmm.
when I hear people, I worked with somebody who had gone through the transition to female,
Yeah.
and she had an incredible voice. She was an engineer and wasn't behind the microphone or anything, but I don't know what she'd gone through, and the voice was very velvety,
Hmm.
and they would snag her to do commercials
That's great.
because no one else sounded like that. But I
And I
don't.
mean, the thing is that they're snagging her, and that's working out for them. But like the thing is, the way with gender dysphoria works, she probably feels amazing about that.
Mm, well, I would hope. I mean, she was a very good engineer, and obviously the voice went along. But I don't know. See, I don't know anything about this, but I think she had some type of surgery.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I believe Index Page went over this, but essentially what the way that it works is there is voice training where you don't get any surgery, and then there is like a surgery where you have your vocal cords shortened.
Oh,
However, the thing is that as with all surgery, it's a little bit how do I word this? So there's a very tiny amount of risk involved for one
mm-hmm.
thing. And the other thing as well is that you still need to kind of train your voice even after you have had that surgery.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a very like involved process. And then of course that's also not considering the fact that unless you're on like a very good insurance, you would also have to pay for it, which is also something to consider as well. So the
You just
so
hit
the thing is,
you just hit this
sorry.
American square in the heart with that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see. The more I learn about the American healthcare system, the more I feel empathetic for you guys. See, my thoughts on Americans, and I'm just going to clarify here. Absolutely nothing. No shade towards you. My thoughts about Americans, they alternate between pity and endless rage. But anyway, um,
Some of us
you
are
you've
too
no idea.
tired for
You've no
that.
idea.
Some of us are too
But
tired for that, actually.
understandable. But the thing is that like what the vast majority of trans people do, due to like due to the prohibitive expensiveness, or over here in the UK, like the inability to like actually get healthcare because they're cutting the funds to it, and it's like run by the government type thing.
Ah, perfect.
So what the majority of trans people do is that they look up like YouTube tutorials for like voice training, and I
Mhm.
have done that a little bit myself. And so I'm trying to think about how to word this. So my voice from like 10 years ago, and well, okay, not 10 years. Okay, so the voice on like my previous streams like a few years ago, it sounds completely different to my voice right now.
Mm,
Because what I've done is I've like very slightly raised the larynx, and I've sort of like started speaking like a different manner.
mhm.
So the way that I'm speaking to you right now is entirely like different from how I was speaking like not even like 2 years ago.
So are you speaking higher into your throat or lower into the abdomen?
I'm speaking kind of higher into the throat, really. Yeah, I
Mm,
think that's the best way to word it.
mm,
If I tried really hard to do the old voice, I give me a second.
mm.
Yeah, this is like how my voice like normally sounds. You know, it's something like that. It's like it's not like a massive amount of progress because obviously I do still like sound like a bloke, but I'm very blown away by like how subtle it can be because this used to be like my phone call voice. Like you
Yeah.
know when you go on the phone and your voice like slightly shifts.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do that all
Yeah,
day.
so what I've done is I've like very slowly shifted my phone call voice into my everything voice.
Well, I talking to you, I couldn't tell that you'd worked on it. It just sounds very natural. So, I mean,
Thank you very
really, I mean, you've done all this work, but I can't hear it. No, no, this is
yeah,
this is a compliment.
yeah, and then part of it is the fact that like it's not really like it's not like a whole different gender yet, but like you know we're kind of working on everything slowly. I don't know if I'm ever going to manage to actually do the voice training, but the thing is that with the kind of trans people you find online, like they genuinely don't care anyway. In fact, some of them say it's more attractive, which is funny to me.
Well, that's what makes card games. Whatever hand you, I say this to everybody, and I mean it, is that people aren't the result of their surroundings and circumstances. They're the triumph that emerges from those circumstances.
Exactly the non-essentialist worldview.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. There's a lot of things that aren't in your hands, and there's a lot of things that are in your hands.
Absolutely.
One thing that's in the hands is the cards you're dealt. Now, how are you going to play them?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, to me, I take the cards and throw them at people. That's how I play them.
So you're doing like a Gambit from X-Men cosplay.
Yeah, but it doesn't work so well. And
Ah,
it
shit,
just, it just
shit.
kind of
Okay.
flies
Well,
across the room.
you've got the wife, so you know that's one part of the cosplay.
Yeah, yep, yep. She's got me too. She didn't.
Uh,
I got the better end of the bargain. Believe me. Um,
that's what all the men say. You know,
yeah.
you got to look inside your soul, and you'll find what she's looking for. I'm sure.
No. No, I don't think so. But I'm.
That's what they all say, mate. That's what they all say.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess. But I'm. It seems very obvious that you've got the personality for this. Um, and have you always been somebody who's been very easy to start up a conversation and be comfortable with it, or is that something that you've had to learn?
No, no, absolutely not. See, this is one of the things where like the doing the whole VTubing thing for 6 years, this is where that comes in handy.
Mm,
Because if you were speaking to me, like I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago, you would not be saying the same thing. Because basically, like speaking into the camera, speaking to all of these like chat members, speaking to people on VC and sort of learning these like social etiquette bits,
mm,
like that's made it like so much easier. Because essentially what was happening before is that like for so so a little bit of context for anybody that's kind of like watching right now. Before we did the interview, I was saying like, oh, sometimes I may accidentally interrupt, blah 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 blah.
mm,
This is less of an issue right now because so basically I'm kind of autistic. So this was like a bigger issue previously.
mm,
However, by interacting with so many people online, I've actually gotten like so much better with it in a way that hasn't really happened in real life, because in real life I don't really actually talk to that many people, but now that I'm talking to so many people online, and since I've done like a previous job with sort of like a call center type thing, I'm not going
mm,
to go into details on that, but I did a job as well.
yeah.
And that has helped me immensely. Like previously, I'm a whole different person in various ways.
That's good in a lot of ways, I imagine, because obviously I don't I everybody's got their own place they're coming from, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to put together two and two and come up with five here. But if you're if you're if you're going through that sort of thing, and you kind of not you've got a little bit of autism to deal with, you've got a little got the gender dysphoria to deal with.
Mhm.
I can't imagine it was very easy for you to open up to people and start conversations with people you didn't know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because I'm trying to think about how to word this. So So the gender dysphoria bit, that was the whole bit with like the voice changer. I think like I'm basically kind of over that now because everyone that I meet online is like so supportive that I don't feel the need to like do this whole like voice changer thing and try and like emphasize like this whole part of my voice that I haven't really perfected yet.
Mm-hmm.
And the autism thing is the words are not really coming to me. The words are not really coming to me, but essentially it's like I wasn't really able to talk to people in a way that comes across as like socially fluent, basically. Like I would
Right.
give like one word answers or like very short sentences, or I would go on like extended tangents where it's like a thing that I'm interested in, but they're not really interested in. I've really had to like learn around that. But if the VTubing thing, if I were to end VTubing like next week, the one thing that is the most solid bonus that I've definitely gotten from it is the social skills.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a lot of people to do that. People who are kind of wallflowers and really shrunk back from the social spotlight have gotten the
Hmm.
chance to put their toe in the water and then eventually, dip in and get a little bit of a swim and get more used to being with people. And they it's very much a personality and voice driven field.
Absolutely.
You don't have to have the greatest voice if you have a really good personality,
Hmm.
and you're able to open up to people and talk. And I've heard you've done it too. I'm sure you have because you've watched VTubers. There
Oh
are
yeah.
some folks who have just tremendous voices, but their personality is a cardboard,
Yeah.
and I feel bad for them. But at least they're trying. But
Exactly. It's
it just
like
happens
the
that way.
yeah, the one upside is that it's one of those skills where like you don't actually have to put any active effort into it. You just need to like do things. You kind of so you do need to go out of the shell a little bit. Like you do
Mm,
need to join like a lot of like voice chats. You need to do a lot of collabs. You need
mm,
to interact with chat quite often. But other than that, it's not really a skill that requires a great amount of active effort to sort of invest or like improve in,
mm.
basically, because it's just a thing that you slowly get better at. You realize like, oh, I could have said this a little bit better. I could have let this guy speak a little bit more. Eventually, it just kind of all like comes together, and you're like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah, yeah, and then eventually you get to the point where you're not second guessing yourself on them,
Mm,
and you're just kind of comfortable with letting it fly and seeing what happens. You don't want to go out of your way, and you don't want to get to the point where you're just ignoring everybody. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. See, okay. I'm not gonna say who it is because this would be throwing an insane amount of shade. But I do have one VTuber friend who has kind of gotten down the part about talking,
Uh,
but she's terrible about the part where you go off on like tangents where you talk about the things that you're personally interested in. Like it would be humorous if it weren't so disruptive.
but now the people kind of know
Hmm.
they can deal with it. They can deal with it as it goes.
Yeah,
You
yeah. So some people have an easier time learning one half of it than the other.
just have to keep pounding it into now.
Exactly.
Stay on the track. That sort of thing. So when I turn into one of your streams, what am I going to see?
So, when you turn into my streams, you're going to see. Well, actually, okay, this depends on whether I've taken the ADHD medication. I've taken it before this interview, so I'm very on track. However, this is also one of the other things with the Highland cow slash puppy divide.
Mm-hmm.
Highland cow is when I'm locked in. It's when I'm playing well. It's when I'm pulling off the trick shots.
Mm-hmm.
Puppy is when I'm saying like the silly shit and chat's giving me the head pats and all that stuff. One of the biggest influences in this is the ADHD medication, and I've kind of made this into a little bit of like a little bit of a thing, a little bit of a bit because I was mentioning earlier the funding for the medication in the UK is gone to shit. Like I
Right.
had to go to a private healthcare one to get the balls of ADHD medication.
Mm-hmm.
So on a good day, chat on so to get sorry, so to get back to the question, on a good day you will tune in and then you'll see me playing RimWorld, modded Minecraft, Halo: The Master Chief Collection, Beastie Ball, which is kind of like Pokemon but a bit volleyball, which is
Mm-hmm.
the current thing I'm doing.
Okay.
And you will see that I am giving concise commentary. I'm responding to every single individual in the chat, and I'm sometimes saying some insane shit that would make Northern Lion flinch.
I
He is
like that.
truly my icon.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But when on the other days, what are they saying?
On the other days, I am slightly non-verbal. I get head pats from the chat, and I'm like, "Thank you for the head pats," ruff, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And I start play the video game. I don't comment as much. I get a lot of support from chat. They're very lovely people. This is the part where I definitely appreciate the support from them a lot more because so, for context, back when I started doing like the Vroid model and when I had started doing the voice changer, I didn't have like many people in chat and I would start to feel like depressed all the time. But now that I both have the ADHD medication, which also, I don't know if you know this, but the ADHD medication also acts as an antidepressant.
Yeah.
So I take that, I'm feeling like happy like all the time. And like a big factor is not just that, but also the fact that I have like all of these people that are like consistently supporting me, showing up to the streams. It's not even like that many people, but the fact that there's people that care enough that like it could fill like about like a five-person party of like D&D or something.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. It's when people are embracing your personality and they're embracing you as a whole for the most part.
Exactly.
It's like they don't even it's like they enjoy the essence of you more than anything else. And that is something that is very rare.
Exactly, and that's something that I've specifically been cultivating because there's
Yeah.
a lot of VTubers where they say that you should go for like very good branding, you should play like very specific games, like retro games, strategy games, that type of thing.
Hmm.
I've deliberately avoided doing that because I want an audience that is there for me and not there for the exact content. Because if people are there for a specific game, then I might feel forced to play that game. If I stop playing that game, people might not show up.
Right.
If I don't like get reach a higher level in the game, they might become like agitated or start backseating and so on.
Hmm.
So I've deliberately cultivated this audience where it's more about me than about the video game. And although that means you do get less people in the long run, it means that the people that do stick around, they're there for like the whole ride, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah. And and I don't care where you're coming from, and this is a general statement, and people can yell at me if they want, but there's always a little jump when you find out that somebody is kind of planning their day around you.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
they're there waiting for you when you turn on the microphone in radio. Um, Knowing that you had decent ratings is a way to put it, And
Exactly, exactly. If someone in the Discord says, "Oh, does anybody know if Ray's streaming today?" That's both like a little bit of pressure, but more than that, it's the fact that like they actually care, which is again that's crazy to me. But like I'm learning to appreciate it instead of just being stunned by it.
well, but you have to retain some of the wonder,
Hmm.
because otherwise you start taking, whether you think you are or not, you start taking it for granted a little bit.
Exactly, exactly. That's the thing. So, I am very overconfident in a lot of things, but I think the one thing that like I'm definitely never going to do is I'm never going to take this for granted because the fact that like people show up to my streams, like I. I'm never going to fully build up like a tolerance for that. I'm never going to fully be like, oh yeah, of course they showed up for the live stream. I'm big VTuber. Like no, it's never going to be like that. I'm never going to get over it. I don't know if that's something to do with the autism, perhaps, but if whether it is or not, I feel like even though actually now that I think about it, there is genuinely no downside to this because it means that if a lot of people show up, I'm like, oh hell yeah, a bunch of people showed up, and then if I do get big, then it means like I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't care about you. Of course you're here. I'm the streamer.
Yeah, it's a wind beneath your wings moment, and that is very tough to recreate. And to
Exactly.
to have it all stripped down to it's not how you look in real life. It's not how you dress in real life. But it's you're getting down to the core of the person, and people enjoy being around you for that. Uh,
Exactly, exactly, because that's what I was saying before about how when there was face rig and I saw face rig and I was like, and the concept was not fully developed. So of course I didn't predict everything that was going to happen. I'm not going to pretend I predicted that. But with face rig, I was kind of looking at that and I'm like, damn, you can do like a live stream and it's more about like what you say, your personality, like how good you are at the video game, the interesting things you do in the video games, the interesting games you play, all that kind of stuff. That's more important than like the guy who's in the webcam because that part I hate.
Well, I tell you, folks, you've just heard a little bit of a taste of what Rie's got going on, and we're going to have all of the links we've been able to find for Rie in the description for this video. I
Hmm.
hope we can get you back sometime and talk more because I think you've got a really, not only are you fun to talk to, just to talk to, but you
Thank you,
you
thank you. You
you
too.
well, thank you. You've got some really good insight and and angles into some of this stuff that I think people really need to hear about. Um,
Very appreciated.
and so, folks, check out what Ree's got going on. And again, thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me this opportunity to join the interview. I really appreciate you sending me the DM first because I'm very socially anxious. Well, okay, like when I'm speaking, I'm not as socially anxious, but like on the social media, the fact you sent it to me first, huge.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.